Hey everyone. Hi, happy Thursday. Good to see the members here and the moderators and the subscribers. Hello everyone. I decided I would come on and have a special get together for the members uh, and subscribers and all of that good stuff. Hi Kelly, good to see you. Hi Rosebud. Hi Emojin Reed. Sending love, peace, and joy to you as well. Edmi Mercado is in the house. Hi. Hi, Gwen. Good to see you as well. Carolyn Bastian, good to see you. Why is it taking so long to name a SCOTUS nominee? Well, I think he has to interview. I think there's a top 3 SCOTUS picks. We'll be talking about that today. A lot of people think Judge, I think her last name is Jackson, am I not mistaken? She's the favored person. I think Maya Wiley has talked about that. Hi, Miss Brazil. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming. Colleen's in the house. Jane the Secret Tarot, Geocosmic. Thank you for being a member. Jane Secret Tarot, thank you as well for being a member. Minnie G, hi. Running away from home. Ooh, come with me. I'm running away from home too. Sean Mueller's in the house. Hi, good to see you. Hi, SV. Gwen Carmack, good to see you. Misty Rose. Oh, so many wonderful people. Buddha Lion, thank you for being a subscriber and a member. Lady Di, thank you for being a subscriber and a member. I appreciate you. Well, how is everyone? How is everybody? Are we all holding up okay? There's a lot of changes going on in the world, so I thought we would get together. Mark Rhodes is in the house. Good. He always has great questions he throws out on hot topics, celebrity gossip, and all of that fun stuff. And good to see you, Connie B. And thank you for helping today. It's much appreciated. She's our moderator extraordinaire. Good to see you. Pierre Walker also is here to help. Thank you very much. Mark Rhodes is sending us beautiful rainbows. Marie Henson, thank you for being a subscriber. It's much appreciated. So, everyone, how are you doing? Everybody being well? Jane the Secret Tarot, thank you for being a subscriber. Geocosmic Valentine, I think we've already thanked her. A Birdsong, Linda Hepburn, thank you for being subscribers. Buddha Leon, of course, thank you for being a subscriber. So many cool people are here today. You know, that's a really good question. Exxon Neil 118. She asked, she's asking our first question. She wants to know if 45 and Company used similar tactics to steal the election in 2016. I don't think so, because they weren't installed, were they? I mean, falsifying electorates, etc. I mean, he put his own people in positions of. It's so insane what has happened with Rudy Giuliani, and I'm having a real hard time doing remote views on Rudy Giuliani. And I sometimes, I find it much easier to get into Putin's head than Rudy Giuliani. And I think the reason why is because Rudy Giuliani's behavior is so insane that it's really hard to figure out where he's coming from. Hi, Gwen Carmack. Thank you for being a member. So yeah, I don't know. We could certainly do some blitzes. Giuliani, people think he could have some mental health problems. He could have some kind of frontal lobe dementia. Justice Kennedy's retirement. I don't know. We can take a look. Rudy, as sick as his secrets. What do you think? Should we do the empath paths prayer and do some blitzes? Do you think that would be a good idea? Ooh, you guys are asking some really good questions. We've got the blitz, blitz, blitz away. I like it. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer. Thank you, everyone who's decided to subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everyone who has become members of the channel, donated to the PayPal account, become clients and made appointments for personal readings. It's really appreciated, and it allows me to continue to do this channel. So I'm very grateful. And of course, Snagglepuss, $10 from Snagglepuss, very appreciated to be able to get those donations and those super chats. All right, let's do it. Let's do the empath prayer, and then I'm here as long as you need me. We will blitz, blitz, blitz away. Whatever you all want to talk about is fine with me. Members, subscribers, and me moderators, of course, get the first picks. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Nice. All right, let's do this. So, could all pull our collective energies. You want to find out about, you know what? I do want to do that. I want to find out what's going on with Rudy Giuliani. I think we can take the top 3 picks for Supreme Court judge today. And I think it's going to be, what is her name? Jackson? I had it written down. I think she is probably going to get it. That's my gut instinct because she's the judge. We have one person who's who's part of the Superior Court. The judge was placed under Obama. Now, this still splits the court 3-6 because Justice Breyer was put in under Clinton. So it's unlikely we're not going to get this person in. Unfortunately, it's not going to change the dynamics of the court. So Washington Post has it down to 3 female judges who are the most likely to take it. Ketanji Brown Jackson, I think she's probably the most likely to get it. So we'll do a blitz on her. And Leandra Kruger. These women are so much younger than me. And J. Michael Childs. So those are the top 3 picks. So we will definitely check on that. Okay, let's do Giuliani. What is wrong with Giuliani? What is going on with Giuliani? Is he crazy? Is he going to jail? I can't imagine. Did he lose his law license yet? Because I think he's probably, if he hasn't lost his law license yet, he probably will, right? Rudy Giuliani. It's getting hot. Okay, there's a judgment coming down on Giuliani. He's actually running out of time. The first hit I get is that there's kind of this frantic desperation that he and his henchmen have been feeling because of this ongoing investigations. You can see the judgment card. I believe that Giuliani got raided? Is that correct? Something about that may have happened because you have a judgment coming down on Giuliani. Just be patient. Wait. Also, temperance we know is a sobriety card. I think drinking is not all of what's going on here. We know that Giuliani was making pro-Putin statements as early as 2004. He was, being interviewed on Rachel Maddow, and he was actually saying great things about Putin in 2004, which leads me to think that he was compromised possibly by the Russian mafia as early before 2004. But we have a temperance card here, sobriety, balance, and we also have a judgment right over him. Where he's at right now, the Ace of Wands. He's lost a lot of support. There's a new beginning in the phase of the investigation where Giuliani has lost a tremendous amount of support. We can see the Five of Pentacles. I know that evidently he didn't get, here's the evidence. Evidence being taken against him. This guy wants to make a deal. You can see the wish here, Ace of Wands coming in, Ace of Cups. I think that, like he said, he had an insurance policy and there's an investigation. It's almost like, you know what this looks like? This looks like this guy is almost like some weird, he reminds me of Bannon in the sense that he's working both sides of the aisle. He's doing these horrible things, but then he's got some protection with the Lover's card here. He's very much under scrutiny. Four of Pentacles in the 9th house. Him in relationship to the other in relationship to him, Queen of Cups. Interesting. He thinks he's going to get out of it. He thinks he's going to spring a deal. And right now, he thinks that he has enough leverage or protection that he's going to be able to skim his way out of it. Six of Swords. But I think he must be delusional because he's got that judgment card right over him. The fact that there's aces there, like Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, leads me to suspect that he thinks he has enough dirt or evidence that it's going to be able to get him enough of a deal where he can avoid prison. But it's a very bizarre energy when you go into it. I think he's not well. So Connie thinks that Biden is going to pick someone that's not on that list. Maybe. Usually what happens, I think, is they set up private interviews and then he makes his selection. And then it goes before the Senate committee. And then it opens the floor to a vote. And it usually takes a couple months. Usually they want to get someone in their 50s or younger, Nicola. And so that's why it's unlikely Anita Hill would be a good candidate. The other thing that's what about the book Mouse? Yes, I've read the book Mouse, which is written by the child of a Holocaust survivor. His parents were both in Auschwitz and survived. His mother actually committed suicide. And he wrote a graphic novel called Mouse. He wrote Mouse and then part 2 Mouse. And it depicts the Jewish people as mice and the Nazis as cats and the Americans as dogs. Dogs chasing the cats and the cats chasing the mice. And it's a very powerful graphic novel. It's won many awards. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Hi, how you doing? Let's see what the next, how you doing? Yeah, you gonna be good? Okay. Mila's here to say hi to everybody. Let's see, what's the next question? No, Kamala Harris would rather be the president of the United States, which is very likely if she would be the next person in line if Biden doesn't run for a second term. A lot of people think he's not going to run for a second term. Other people would like to see someone like Buttigieg run. We'll probably do a primary, I would think. Yeah, I wonder how much power. See, Mitch McConnell was the one that said go nuclear. You can put a Supreme Court judge up with 51 votes. So, uh, the old way, if we had had 60 votes, Kavanaugh wouldn't have made it. Amy Coney Barrett, did she get 58 or did she get more than that? He did lose his license in New York. Giuliani, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, that makes sense. They're going to pick somebody in their 50s or younger, so it wouldn't be Anita Hill. Okay. So the Luminant Gas Company tried to extort money from Texas. And, this probably goes back to one of the reasons why Marie Hansen, that Texas has been under so many investigations and we're seeing all these audits for misuse of funds, et cetera. But let's take a look at the gas situation because I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with that. Thank you, Patricia, for that generous donation. I appreciate it. All right, let's take a look at the Luminant Gas Company. We'll do just 4 cards so that we can get through these. Yeah, Barack Obama's young enough. He's in his 50s, isn't he? What, is he 1 or 2 years older than me? All right, the Luminant Gas Company in Texas, what's going to happen with it? Obama's 60. Oh, too bad. I think the cutoff is like 50 in the 50s because they want them to be on the court as long as possible. They're phased out. The Luminant Gas Company is phased out because of incompetence and because it was poorly run. And so a better system comes in. That's what they're saying. It started off where they had kind of monopolized the situation, it feels like, with the Luminant Gas Company, but then their time runs out. You've got the karmic wheel. So what goes around comes around. If a company is incompetent, people get rid of it. And then the King of Swords comes in, which can be like the police, and then a new offer. So I think somebody or something comes in that competes with this company and the contract goes to somebody else, or they just get phased out because of incompetence. Yeah, and this happens relatively quickly. You can see here the Queen of Wands is over the company. So there, like I had said, there's some kind of audit into the business. The business has a temporary aspect to it. The Ace of Wands, within 1 month, feds coming in, or possible some kind of police action, and then grief. So I think they're going to be shut down. They were poorly handled and mismanaged, and so that's probably what happens to them. The fact that a page of Pentacles comes in, the fact that there's the Queen of Wands on top of the company, not good. It would suggest that there's an aggressive push to get rid of them because they were ineffective. So, oh, you called the Department of Energy. Yeah, good for you. Yeah. Stacey Abrams, nice idea. I think that what has happened in the past is that they tend to favor people who have been judges, like Superior Court judges who have been on the bench and have done similar types of and have a history of rulings that. For example, we know that Ketanji Brown Jackson has a history. She's 51, so she's the right age. She's served as a judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals. She was placed there under Obama. She was born in D.C. She went to Harvard. She filled Merrick Garland's position after Merrick Garland took his position. So why don't we go ahead now and let's look at Ketanji Jackson. We'll call her Ketanji Brown Jackson. We'll just do the initials. I have good feelings about her. She's got a pretty impressive. People who are that accomplished, I'm always in awe of them, you know. Oh, hi, Douglas. Good to see you here. Thanks for moderating. Thank you, Greeter TK. Good to see you here. Okay. Will Ketanji Brown Jackson be nominated? Oh, wow. She clerked under Breyer. Very nice. Yeah, I think she's the most favored according to last night, Maya Wiley was favoring her, I think. She was the most favored. Okay, let's see. Ketanji Brown Jackson's future, 51. Believe it or not, she was a little surprised that this happened so quickly because she had not been in her position for very long. You can see the moon card, like, what? I just got here in this position, and she's already being considered for the Supreme Court. Here is the consideration. Here's the weighing. And the final outcome for her is judgment. So it's very likely she will be Biden's pick. But let's do a clarification. Yeah, we're going to know more within a month. You know, part of her was hoping that she could stay in her current position for a little while. She's a genius. She's brilliant. Look at that master. She's a very good choice. She's a very, very good choice. I mean, mastery and the judgment. She's got excellent cards. Okay, the next person that was on the list was Leandra Kruger. All right, so Leandra Kruger. Oh, sorry, I'm not spelling this very well. Where did I go? So here's what we know about Kruger. 45, so age appropriate for the job. California Supreme Court Justice at the U.S. Department of Justice. She served as Deputy Solicitor General, so she probably worked with Kamala Harris. She has turned down offers in the past for working in the White House. She was nominated to the High Court in 2015. So this is somebody who doesn't necessarily want to leave California, and she doesn't necessarily want to give up her current job. Even though she's on the list, she has a history of turning down DC jobs. So let's take a look. Nora Kruger. She's very strong candidate. Very strong candidate. Look at this. There's the investigation. But look, Moon. A lot of these people have mixed feelings about taking a Supreme Court position. It rather surprises me. She's going to be interviewing within a month. You know, it's possible she could get it too. She interviews within a month. She's a strong candidate. She's thinking about going east, 3 of Wands, waiting for her ship to come in. Here is this intense investigation. And then she has an offer for a new position in the spring, which is right around the time that the nominations could happen. So she's definitely a contender. Boy, she's definitely a contender. She has very strong cards. The only thing that I think would cause her to, the reason why she wouldn't is because she wouldn't want it. Next on the list of 3 was J. Michelle Childs, 55 years old, again, age appropriate, served at the U.S. District Court for District of South Carolina. Same thing, though. It's a new appointment. She was nominated last month to serve on the D.C. court. She served in the state government workers' compensation. That's good. She's a favorite. She's one of Biden's favorite people, actually. She's well liked by Biden. J. Michelle Childs. Let's go ahead and look at J. Michelle Childs. It's exciting, isn't it, getting a new Supreme Court judge? Doesn't happen very often, but we've seen a lot of them in the last couple of years, haven't we? I have to admit, the second one looked really good. J. Michelle Childs. It's very exciting, I think. And it's a historical nomination, too, which is also exciting, that we live in interesting times, right? All right, her future. It's a lot of people jealous of her, because she is well liked by Biden. You know, she was not a local to DC, and people were angry and upset. There were a lot of men that were going for her job, and he brought her in to take the job. So she took the job, but you can see this kind of angry energy over her. And there's the position. She's somebody who Biden likes. This is Biden's favorite. You can see Six of Cups. He has a relationship with her. Final outcome, King of Wands. She would definitely be independent on the court. She would be a very strong judge because King of Wands, I think that this is Biden's favorite. Empress. Of the three, if Biden wasn't listening to anybody and he was just going with who he feels the most comfortable with, he would probably pick Childs because of their history, because they have a relationship, because of her past history in the courts. A favorite of one of Biden's most influential allies. Also, Majority Whip James Clyburn supports her. She's extremely supported. But I would say she's so liked by Clyburn and by Biden that she has aroused a lot of jealousy because she moved through the courts very rapidly. If we were just going to go to the cards, I would not be surprised if this person got the offer because of this. There's this, you really feel like this is the person that Biden wants to give it to. I think so, Pierre Walker. Even the Republicans are not going to make a fuss because this doesn't change the courts. Breyer was placed under Clinton, I believe. So it's not like it's changing it from 3 to 6 to 4 to 5. It's still, unfortunately, 3 to 6. Now, I think Thomas is leaving. I think there's a lot of reasons why Thomas is leaving. First off, because I'm at a loss about why he hasn't recused himself for some of the rulings they've had to make regarding January 6th. Also, his health is terrible. I mean, he looks like he's just not doing well. He does not look like a healthy person. So let's take a look at the future of Manchin and Sinema regarding voting for the justices. Yeah, Ginny is not well. Did anybody see Midnight Mass on YouTube or on Netflix? There's a character, the female deacon, and you can tell the actress is basing the deacon on Amy Coney Barrett. Like she is using Amy Coney Barrett as an actress to play this character. It's literally Amy Coney Barrett, but she's got her hair like this, and she's the deacon of the church in the Midnight Mass. Has anybody seen this show? And she's completely insane. But if you want to get a good chuckle and say, oh yeah, that's Amy Coney, the actress is playing Amy Coney Barrett, like for sure. Same voice, same reasoning about the Bible. And everything is justified, even if The Monsignor is a vampire. It's justified if he drinks your blood, because through the blood we are saved. It's just so obvious. I mean, it's just so campy. And her vocals, the actress, I mean, she just nails Amy Coney Barrett. And if you watch politics, you get what the actress is doing, and it's just it kills me. I laughed to the point where I was like crying. It's brilliant. It's absolute. Well, if we all have to, and she uses all these obscure biblical arguments for why they all have to be vampires now. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's very funny. All right, SCOTUS nomination we did. What were we doing next? I'm sorry. It's very funny. And when you see it, you'll get the joke. You'll get the joke. Okay, SCOTUS nomination. It looks just like Amy Coney Barrett. Like Dead Ringer, the actress they picked. Okay, Cinema and Mansion. I get a fear with them. I get a fear like they get discovered or they get caught going across the aisle or doing things that they shouldn't be doing. There's a feeling here with Mansion and Cinema that they are facing not just censure in their own states, but that they were caught engaging in activities that they shouldn't have been engaged in. You can see here running like a thief to flee. So it's almost as if they're caught attempting to do something that they weren't supposed to be doing. So that's a little weird. And then here come the courts, right? Here comes the Queen of Swords, puts the past behind her, but it's also the Ice Queen. It's the Sword of Justice. And then Strength comes in, and then something hidden is revealed. So it looks a little weird, don't you think? I mean, you've got a card that would denote theft. You've got a card that would denote truth, steely-eyed realist, strength, and then this hidden light is revealed. Something's going to come out about them, possibly brokering deals or private meetings that took place, possibly with the other side. And there's going to be a rejoicing over, stop with the fighting. There's a little bit of this fighting amongst themselves. And also I'm seeing the Republicans fighting amongst themselves. Like everybody's worried about the Democrats eating themselves for breakfast, but that's not what's coming down. A third of the Republicans are probably going to go up in smoke. You have this 5 of Wands that takes out the Republican Party. And then you have a rejoicing. Oh, I think this is the Supreme Court judge who's female. And then you have a rejoicing. Yes, she's going to get in. It's going to be a Black female, and there's going to be rejoicing. Possibly a air sign. I wonder, I'm feeling good about Childs. But boy, did she attract jealousy with those cards. My goodness. Oh, hello, Irina. Good to see you here. So if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, it would be great if you could subscribe. It would be great if you could become a member. Fairies and Angels, we get together on Saturdays. We do private readings. That would be awesome. Would be great if you would also join our meditation group on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. We meditate and we do remote viewing, which is a lot of fun. Oof. Sorry, Mimi Rose. You'll love Midnight Mass then. I love the Amy Coney Barrett character in Midnight Mass because no matter how horrific it is, uh, like they discover certain things like evil vampires and things, Amy Coney Barrett's, well, the Lord says, it's just very funny. You got to watch it. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about our favorite guy in Russia, Putin. People are worried about what's happening with Putin sending troops in Ukraine, but it just came out about 8-9 hours ago that Germany is not going to approve the second pipeline with Russia if they invade the Ukraine. That's interesting to me because it goes back to over and over and over again the mantra. Does anybody? I won't do this to you, but can anyone tell us what the mantra is every time we do remote views on Putin? What does he keep saying over and over again? I want, what does he want? What does he want more than anything else? That's right, Marie Henson. Good job. Good job. He wants his trade. So if Germany isn't going to give it to him, isn't going to give him the trade route, if Germany is going to say, well, you invade and we're not going to buy your oil, that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? So it goes back to that idea of that, which we looked at the energy a couple of years ago and thought, why don't they act like adults and sit down and have a cup of coffee rather than pointing bombs at each other? Don't you think the rational thing to do would be to sit down and have a conversation? Why immediately go to this extreme, violent, crazy, because we know what he wants. He wants to expand his territory, expand his resources, get his trade out. And if that's the whole point, yes, Joanne Frank, there was a ferry, and I am a steely-eyed realist. I want to see data. But on the live show on Sunday, we did catch a ferry. And did everybody see the ferry? It's about 30 minutes in, and I cannot explain it scientifically. And I'll tell you why I can't explain it scientifically. Because it was not a light reflecting off of a wall. The blinds were closed. And it wasn't against the wall. It was in midair, and it was holographic, and it had wings. And there were no bugs. There was no light. It's impossible. It wasn't against a wall. You can have lights doing funny things on a wall. It was in the middle of the room. And it was three-dimensional. And it was an orb that had wings. It looked like a butterfly. So that was kind of my first metaphysical experience with an orb, because I'm highly skeptical. If I see an orb, my first thought is, oh, it's dust. Oh, it's the light coming through, shining off the dust, creating a cool special effect. So I went back and looked at the tape, and it literally was here, and I turned around and saw it floating around, three-dimensional. And then this was there. There was no, it's impossible that it was coming from a light source. And then it floated around. So if you go back to the Sunday show, about 30 minutes in, after we do the empath prayer, you can see a ferry. There's no scientific explanation. So it was. Did anybody else get to see it? But this one was special. What was also special about this orb, we had just been talking about fairies and angels, and we had done the empath prayer. And what was amazing was I got the chills when I was doing the empath prayer. I really put my heart into it. And then this fairy showed up, and I watched it over and over again. I checked the light sources. I checked the block. It was, you can't have a light three-dimensional in the center of a room like a holograph. That's not how light works. I'm a scientist. I'm a trained scientist. So it was one of those experiences where I just thought, I got nothing. I can't explain it. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. And it's pretty gosh darn cool. It's like whatever we were doing collectively, we're talking about fairies. We were saying we were fairies. And then 5-10 minutes later, literally a dancing little Tinkerbell started flying around the room in front of everybody. It was just like, okay, we got a fairy. So it was very, very, very cool. Yeah. And put it in slow-mo and go back. You'll see there's no light source. It's a three-dimensional holographic thing. It was not an insect. I looked. Yeah, I guess the winged ones are called fairies. Whatever it was, it came to, I was sad though, it didn't stick around. I was like, oh, hello. And I could see it flying three-dimensionally. And I'm like, but it didn't scare us. It was just like, and it was like flying around in front of us, and there was no bug. I looked everywhere, and it wasn't shining like that. If it was shining and bouncing off something, that would explain a bug. There was no light coming onto it. It was contained light in a holographic image. It was just insane. I don't know. I got nothing. I was very excited. Okay, so what do we got next here? Oh, yes. So I want to see if Putin is going to avoid going to war because Putin sanctions are having any kind of an impact. I said hello to it. Yes, I wasn't afraid, but like even as a remote viewer, I say, okay, come on, we drop ourselves down to an alpha state, and we know that the brain has the capacity to pick up information in the alpha state that it can't pick up in other states when we're in the conscious state. And we know that the brain is really multiple brains working together. We've got the prefrontal, the frontal. I mean, I took neurology in medical school. So I will, even remote viewing, I will try to come up with a scientific explanation of how it works. But this was something that was completely outside of my realm of understanding. And what was amazing was how many of the audience just said, yeah, it's a fairy, and went back to eating their chicks. What is a freaking fairy in my room? I've never had something like that happen. But you guys were completely cool with it. Oh, yeah, we see it all the time. It was very exciting. And it was very exciting that we caught it on film. Yeah. All right. What's going to happen? How is Putin going to respond to these sanctions, or is Putin going to go in? What is going on with Putin's sanctions? I don't know. Maybe it'll come back again. Wouldn't that be nice? Hi, Debsy. Thank you for being a subscriber. Hi, Melissa Miller. Thank you for being a subscriber. Well, I think it's about trade. I think we can avoid war with him if they negotiate a deal to open up his trade within a month. Because that's ultimately what it's about. It's about money and trade. Look, you've got the Page of Pentacles, money, offer, Ace of Wands, successful deal within 1 month. How do we know? Because we're entering into the time of negotiations, Two of Cups. They want to negotiate money. Look, this is what happened when Carter went to Egypt. Remember that? When there was the negotiation between Sadat and Menachem Begin, right? And Menachem Begin was an extremist right-wing. He was actually banned from even being in politics. How he wound up back in the Knesset, I won't tell you all the horrible things he's associated with. But so it was unbelievable that they were able to even get a negotiation between these two hardliners. But they basically paid them both money not to kill each other. Okay, we will fund Egypt. We will give Egypt this amount of money. We will give Israel. It'll stabilize your economies. It'll open up trade. It will open up tourism. A lot of the tourists that go to Egypt right now are Israelis. They go to these beautiful resorts in Egypt, right? And vice versa. It's like the best way to have peace is to increase the economy, increase trade, etc. And that is what ultimately keeps us from going to war. It doesn't have to be war. It's just find out what the other wants and then come up with a judicious way. Anwar Sadat was assassinated 2 years later. Exactly. He kind of lost his life as a result of that. But so we have the offer of money. The issue is money. We have within 1 month. I read Wands as months. I try to get as accurate as I can on dates for people. And then we have Two of Cups, the sacred contract, also healing. You can see the doctor's card is also associated with Two of Cups, and then transformation. Let's do a clarification. Chocolate. I've heard that fairies actually like chocolate, and if you leave chocolate out, it will attract fairies, or any kind of sweets or candies. And I thought that makes total sense, because if I was a fairy, I would come for the chocolate, right? And gingerbread houses, all of that stuff. Yeah, it has to. We're going to have to renegotiate trade with Putin. You can see it's a whole new contract. The intellectuals coming, trade here, and then a star within 1 month. And then here again, lovers. We need a new relationship with Russia. This also goes back, it reminds me of what Linda G had said, that we will stabilize relations with Russia. I agree with her. If we can let Russia have its trade, but there have to be rules. We don't want the people of Russia to have a GDP like Italy. We want them to have a stable economy, because countries with stable economies where the people are happy and they have democracy, et cetera, and people have working wages, that's what we want for the Russian people, right? So you have this Two of Cups and you have this Lovers. There has to be some kind of willingness for open communication. But you also have the whole conflict with OPEC, Saudi Arabia now bombing Yemen. Not good. Not good. We have to start. We're losing our love affair with OPEC, and we're losing our love affair with Saudi Arabia. So you have a Four of Pentacles coming in, which means pulling back financially. There are people concerned about the long-term consequences financially. Yeah, that's a really good question about Britney Spears. Let's do a little bit of hot topics. That'll be fun. Will Britney Spears and her sister Jamie Lynn make up? Jamie Lynn came out with her book recently. They love dimes too. Yeah, I would think candy, chocolates, sweets, cookies, stories. Reading stories out loud, supposedly. Oh, and planting any kind of nature. Supposedly, if we cut down the trees and we destroy the nature, then it drives the fairies deeper. It's rare to see a fairy in the city. So that was really rare what happened. But I have a lot of plants now that I'm growing in my home, so hopefully I will attract more of that energy. But that was like once in a lifetime for me to be able to see something like that. Oh, the fairies went over my apples? Yeah, I have plants and apples, and I chant. I do Buddhist chanting here, and we had done the empath prayer, and we were in a really heightened spiritual state, and we were open and we were receptive. I mean, it was so exciting. It had wings. It wasn't just like a little blob that could be a dust thing. It was just very exciting. But I thought, okay, it's got to be an insect. It's got to be a hummingbird. But it was holographic, and it was right in the center of the room. Very cool. Hopefully we can all start to attract fairies now. I think it's a good sign if they're coming back, though. All right, Britney Spears and Jamie. That is a really sick thing that's happening between them. I think Jamie Spears is now singing Britney Spears music. And didn't Britney Spears send a cease and desist letter or something like that? Anybody know anything about this? I just think this whole thing is so sick. I mean, she gets trafficked by her father. Now her sister's trying to imitate her to make, it's a very dysfunctional family. Yeah, I just think it's so cool, Geocosmic Valentine. All right, let's look at Britney Spears and Jamie. It's an ethics issue for Britney Spears. This feels like ethics. It's an ethics issue. She is at a point now, Britney Spears, where she's fighting for her rights, and she has very solid understanding of what right and wrong is, what is appropriate and what's not appropriate. You can see here the ethics, the dogma, how one looks towards God or spirit, and then it's associated with Archangel Michael. So this is somebody who has gotten to a point, maybe through therapy, through sobriety, where she has zero tolerance of people who behave in ways that are ethically questionable. There's an attempt to work out some kind of a deal where she has permission to perform some of the songs, because there's an attempt at reconciliation by Jamie. But no, this is a threat. She received a cease and desist, 9 of Wands. She's defending her territory. She's actually facing serious legal action if she continues. You can see here Britney Spears wins. She's in a position of power. She feels very emboldened, I would say, after everything she's been through. She also doesn't want to have much of a relationship with her sister anymore, I'm sorry to say. She also has completely changed up her legal team, and she's completely changed up her business. She is trying to get complete control over her own money. You know, she's got lawyers and people around her that she trusts that are protecting her, and it's become this army of people. And she has become kind of like the queen who has to make very serious decisions. This reminds me of, you know, the queen who starts off all loving and nice, and then after people mess them over, they learn that there's a time and a place for brutality. And you can see here intellectuals. I would say that Jamie is probably going to have to find a way to be successful without help from Britney Spears. She's going to have to create her own music. But no, she won't get very far. She will not get very far. All right, meet a Jew. Yes, and not just meet a Jew, but it's meet the other. So there are programs where you can go and you can meet somebody in the LGBTQ community, somebody who's transgender. So, and it's all volunteer. They have programs like that also in the United States, and you can have a cup of coffee and meet somebody who's entirely different from yourself, or you can meet a Jewish person. I'm extremely secular, so I don't think I would be. But if you're ultra orthodox or somebody who's extremely observant, it might seem very foreign to somebody who wasn't raised with that kind of life. Oh, Lisa Benet. Oh, very interesting. All right, let's look at anti-Semitism in Eastern Europe. Ukraine has a history of being probably the most anti-Semitic place in Eastern Europe, I'm sorry to say. Poland also not very good, right? Even more so than Germany did not historically have as big of an anti-Semitism problem as we saw in Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, Poland. These were parts of the Odessa, right? Parts of the world where there was extreme anti-Semitism. God in Hell talks about the treatment of Jews in Ukraine during the Holocaust. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like there's acts of violence taking place. Also, Hungary, long history of anti-Semitism in Hungary. It's not good. There could be an increase in deaths, assassinations, or deaths and persecutions of Jewish people. Very dangerous if you are dressed Orthodox to be walking around by yourself. I was in Los Angeles at the CVS, and there were two Orthodox Jewish men that were from Chabad Lubavitch, and they were giving people free candles, which is what we do for Hanukkah, so that everybody gets to like Hanukkah candles. And these Nazis, these guys started harassing them and screaming about the Jews and was going to punch them, and they had to run into CVS to keep from being attacked. And this was Los Angeles. So it's extremely dangerous. There could be an increase in murders or attacks. There is some kind of an effort legally with the judge coming in, and also with Page of Pentacles, an attempt to protect the people. But yeah, definitely increase in anti-Semitism, which has been traced back to bots coming out of Eastern Europe. It could be a problem. It could continue to be a problem. Oh, thank you, Marie Olga. I like my chair too. Yeah, there's an attempt to do something about it, but you can see this grief, heartbreak, karma. It's just, there are socioeconomic reasons. Eastern European Church, Ukrainian Church, the church in Hungary, the new rise in dictatorships, fascism in Poland, Hungary. It's a problem. No, best be good. I don't think he cares about the January 6th. I think he cares about taking the Ukraine because he feels he's entitled to it. I agree, says Levy. You know, it's interesting. I used to live in Germany, And it's interesting also when you do remote views on Putin, it's the same kind of, well, what aboutism? When you say, what about the Holocaust? They say, well, what about the genocide against the Native Americans? When are you going to start teaching what life is like on reservation? Good point. But what about the Holocaust, right? And Putin says the same thing when you go into the remote. When we say, leave Ukraine alone, he says, leave Texas alone. Give Texas back to the Mexicans. And while you're at it, give California back to the Mexicans and give South Dakota back to the Dakota Sioux, right? So what about Texas? What about California? What about the indigenous peoples whose land you're currently living on that you stole? So it's always, well, American hypocrisy, right? You're living in Texas. Texas is Mexico. You just stole their land, right? And now you're blocking these people from going back to their land, right? The illegals, right? The illegals who are going over the wall back to what used to be Mexico. So what the argument on the other side is, the whataboutism, right? Right, over 500 nations experiencing genocide. The Cherokee, right? The Trail of Tears, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee should be required reading, right? So it's interesting, right? It's interesting that, well, he has a point in the sense that it's easy to point the finger, but it takes a lot of work to look at your own prejudices and your own country's history. But that still doesn't justify invading Ukraine. We would agree, right? Hurting the indigenous peoples with smallpox blanket. Nobody here thinks that's a good thing, right? We would agree. All right. Somebody asked something about Lisa Bonet. I don't know anything about that, so I couldn't find that question. Oh, here it is. Lisa Bonet is I don't know who just Jason Momoa is. I know that Lisa Bonet is very pretty. Let's see about the future of Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa. Will she react to the Bill Cosby documentary? Has she been accused? I don't think but she used to work for Cosby, right? She used to play his daughter, right? Lisa Bonet. And Mickey Rourke. They actually dated, right? I would say that this person does not want to divorce her. I would say that it almost looks like Jason Momoa cheated on her or something, or there was a little bit of somebody was a bit naughty, and that he doesn't want to get a divorce. That would be how I would interpret this. Look at this, 6 of Pentacles trying to make things right. Look at this, 6 of Cups offering flowers. A Lover. Maybe somebody got into the middle of it, and then the Queen of Cups. So I don't know why people do this. Why do they sabotage their marriages? If you know that your wife is beautiful and incredible and wonderful, why did you go and sabotage your marriage? And then she leaves, and then all of a sudden, yeah. Look at this. He hangs up the Lover. He's tied up. I think he got caught doing something he shouldn't have done. Divorce. This is, sometimes people become complacent in marriage, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and they think she'll never leave. And then she leaves, and then or he leaves and the other person who's been messing up says, "Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?" And it kind of has that feel to it, the divorcee hanging up the lover, winds up alone. I would say that she wanted it, and it was because he was possibly doing something he shouldn't have been doing. Thank you, Footprint Tarot. I appreciate that donation. Oh, for nude photos. I don't know if it's true, but there's somebody who was on the set said that it was that they actually had sex in the scene. That they had sex and that it was filmed and that it was not simulated. And this person who was a friend of Mickey Rourke's got really annoyed, and because I said, "No, they didn't have sex." He said, "Yes, I was on the set. They had sex." I was like, "Oh dear." So I think it wasn't just about the scene, it was about how far the scene went. Maybe. I don't know. Rather risque being an actor. Yeah, good point, Wendy Schneider. Australia has, looking at uh, Linda Hepburn wants to know, where is the ferry? About a Sunday show. It's really cool. It's about a little over 30 minutes into it. You'll see the ferry show up, and you'll see that it's a holograph and that it's not a light shining. There's no light source. It is the light source. And so it's one of those magical moments, right? Captured. That's a good question. Karen Stocklicker writes a really good question. She says, if we could go back in time to the 1970s and look forward 50 years later, would we believe what we could see? I think we'd be disappointed, right? We would be disappointed by the state of the planet, right? How we messed the environment up. I know I would be pretty upset. And I think the fact that we're still dealing with racism and Donald Trump, I mean, we really thought like, oh, thank God we're evolving, right? We got Barack Obama and then we got really comfortable. Well, we're moving past that. And of course, it was window dressing. We still hadn't done the deep work and we hadn't gotten rid of Citizens United. So interesting, Alingo. Very interesting. Yeah, I think sometimes we want to go look at the other. We don't want to, no, but we're justified. It's like a popular song when I was in Israel was Revolution by Tracy Chapman. Gonna be a revolution. And Israelis were like, yeah, it's so terrible what's going on over in the United States. And wow, there's going to be a revolution. And I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a revolution. Okay. All right. It's always it's always easy to look at somebody from a distance and not what can I do in my, our own stuff. We all need to look at our own stuff. I don't think so, Best Good. I don't think it has anything to do with January 6th. I don't think that I think he's doing it because he has been he sees himself as Stalin. He's also promoted this idea that Stalin was a great guy and that Stalin expanded Russia and was good for Russia. But Also, if you look historically at Stalin, he was paranoid and he killed a lot of people. And so it's rather interesting that he models himself after Stalin. That sounds very strange. Pretend to invade Russia. You mean was it to invade Russia, or was travel, or was it that he was paying people to attack Russians? Let's take a look. The fake attacks. Oh, Intuitive Tarot had a fairy fly through as well. How cool! The fairies are back out. This is awesome. What is Putin planning on hiring Ukrainians to attack Russians to justify the war? And no one's been asking about Trump today, which is nice. We've been here over an hour and nobody's been asking about Trump. Interesting. I think that would be a very bad idea, and I think it's likely that instead they negotiate for deal and trade. Again, money comes up, hanging up. He may hang something up, like he really doesn't want to go to war. If he can get, he wants to look at the deals we made with NATO. He wants to go back to where things were in the 1980s and 90s. Also, he's defensive. He doesn't have a history of launching this sort of thing. You know, Crimea was small potatoes compared to what he's claiming now. He who will remain nameless. Yeah, look at this, defending his territory. So he believes, right, that this is Russia. We're defending our territory. Hangs it up, flees. You know, there's a part of me when I go into this energy, I can't help but feel that Putin is very scared, like he's a coward in a way. This is the bully who gets other people to fight, gets other people to kill one another, and sits back and laugh, but he's not going to go and fight. Yeah, interesting. Oh, the fairy orb appeared at 29 minutes. You're talking about on my channel or somebody else's? Oh, Linda G thinks, yeah, I mean, I think that she might be right that if people are not going to buy his oil, if he's going to be sanctioned, then what's he accomplishing? So now I think is a good time for him to sit down and negotiate. Maybe he will go to war. It just seems out of character for him. He usually doesn't like these big, it's one thing to go after somebody. Oh, really? Thank you, Joanne. If you want to see the fairy, you can go to the Sunday show 2926. Thank you, Joanne. It's very kind of you. No, Best Good, he is not. He is not doing that. He's not doing it because of January 6th. He's doing it because he wants the Ukraine. Yeah, and it's interesting. People talk about communism and socialism, but Putin is not a socialist. He's not. He's a similar to Ayn Rand, who was anti-socialism. He's not a liberal. He does not. He's very similar to libertarians. right? If you look at former Russians who left Russia because they did not support the Bolsheviks and they don't believe that everybody's equal. They supported the Tsar. That's more in keeping with Putin. He believes he's the new Tsar. He's the new Stalin. Some people are more equal than others. The peasants are the peasants and the special people are the special people. And this is the natural order. And then you have the oligarchs and then he's the top guy. As he's not a socialist, some social programs. He has compassion for the poor, sort of, right? He used to be poor. He used to have to drive a cab, right? But I don't think so, Bess. I don't think that is what it has to do with this. This has been going on for a long time. I think he accomplished things bit by bit. Like he got us out of Syria, he got us out of Iraq, he got us out of Afghanistan. Then he signed a deal with India. If I were Pakistan, I'd be nervous because if you look at the area and if you look at Putin's past history and his views of Islamic extremism, his view of Saudi Arabia, what happened in Chechnya, what happened when Russia was in Afghanistan, I think he would like to wipe Muslim extremism and these proxy armies off the map. Also, he has trade with Iran. They have a long history of trade in the Caspian, in the Black Sea, with Turkey and with Iran. So if you look at Muslim extremists moving into some of these former Central Asian countries, especially, that's really what this is about. And the oil, like Kazakhstan, right? When he sent paratroopers into Kazakhstan. So because we had done a remote view on Putin and he had told us what he wanted, we could go back and we could say, okay, what does Kazakhstan have that he wants? And they have a pipeline, an oil pipeline. And so he wants control over it and he wants the pipeline. And again, it's a former Soviet, part of the former Soviet Union that he lost. And it goes back to what he was angry about. He wants his damn trade back. So he sent, and I don't know how many, at least 250 people had died. I didn't get the numbers of if any Russian troops had been injured. Yeah, Marie Sutton, very good point. Putin has people like Ban and Manafort. That's more like how Putin likes to go to war. He likes to bribe people in positions of power, bribe people in the media. Also, there's people in the media that are working for wealthy people, oligarchs who control the media, who have a vested interest in seeing Russia succeed because they themselves want to become oligarchs or have a similar kind of government structure. It's the wealthy aristocrats against the poor, which is basically the Russia that Putin envisions. It's almost like going back to the days of the serfs, right? Where 90% of the people didn't have enough food to eat, which is why they had a revolution. So Iran has a Muslim Shia, not Sunni. And the Shia have been at war for 1,000 years with the Sunni. And the Sunni are Saudi Arabia, Sunni extremist, Wahhabist. So good point, Bess, good. But Iran is Shia. And so therefore the enemy of the enemy is my friend. And that is why Putin has supplied military aid to Iran, to the Shia, in order to fight the Sunni. Very good point, Bess. Isn't it interesting, Sue? Has anyone heard about Ireland? What's going on in Ireland? That there's some evidence that spy ships out of Russia are destroying cables for communication in the West. And actually, the Irish fishermen are saying that they're going to go out and confront the Russians. The fishermen are, because of the cables being destroyed. Okay, so let's see about the Russian spy ship destroying destroying cables in the West. And whether or not, the Irish, yes, the Irish fishermen are going to come after them with their herring boats. Yeah, that's what they said. Let's see what happens with that, with Russia destroying cable in Norway and Ireland. I think it's very cool, actually. Don't mess with the fishermen. That's right. What's going on with the Irish and the Norwegians and the destroying of the cable? Very funny, Carol. Okay, a decision being made. It's being viewed actually as kind of an emergency. I see Americans and military helping, possibly the Brits and also the Americans that have bases in Britain, because you have a judgment here, and then you have this rapid response, and you've got grief, possibly due to the cables, and then you've got an Ace of Wands, which is taking care of the situation. Again, goes back to money and boy, this guy, see, that's what I mean. He doesn't kill people. He's not into war per se. Putin is into sabotage through attempts at theft, right? Stealing the cable, destroying the cable. We can't continue to be a victim. The West cannot continue to sit back waiting for some other type of sabotage from Russia. And this is going to be taken very seriously. It was foolish. Inverted Fool card. It was foolish. It was very foolish what they did. So this could lead to some really serious actions against Russia. I mean, it's serious to the point of possibly it just feels to me like the West is at zero tolerance now, and that major change. It's like very serious boundaries coming, and I think Putin's gone too far. I think the world is getting really sick of him. Yeah, just like Pamela Doss says, I think people are really getting tired of this. And now they have breakers cutting through the ice. They want to get a new trade route into the Pacific, and they want to take Alaska. I mean, come on, folks. All right, I think we've been here for about an hour and a half. Please like, please subscribe, please become a member. It's so appreciated. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I would love that. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. The information is below. If you have a quick question, you need a quick answer, you can go to Wizio. That information is below. I think we'll do one more question, and then we will call it a day, as they say. Thanks for showing up, Footprint Tarot. Anybody have another question? Any of the members or the moderators? More fairies, yes. We want to see more fairies. It doesn't happen very often. That's the first time that happened to me. It was fun, wasn't it, Geocosmic Valentine? We should do it again. We had a lot of people show up. It's nice. Yeah, Elaine Goad, very good point. You know, people are really worried this is going to be another Cuban Missile Crisis. Read on the fairies. Oh, why? You know, that's actually a really good point, Geocosmic Valentine. Why are the fairies showing up right now? Oh, thank you, Marcelina Robalito. I appreciate your donation. This is very kind of you. I think it's 29 minutes. The fairy shows up on the Sunday show. That's one of those times where, as a scientist, because I'm just so hardened, right? Too many years of taking science classes where I did everything to debunk that. And then I just had to scratch my wooden noggin. But you can see very clearly it's holographic, and that it has its own light. It's not a light source. And that's what makes it so special. Okay, let's see. Why are the fairies starting to make their presence known in these videos with all the readers now? What is this about? Why is this happening? Should we be scared? Or I don't feel scared. Does anybody feel scared of it? I don't. Well, thank you, Joanne Frank. I appreciate the donation. It's very kind of you. Why are these fairies showing up with wings? Huh. There's this feeling that now, with the changes that are taking place in the world, it's time for the veil to be thinned a little bit. It's talking about the unseen world is starting to be to show itself. And it's as if the time is right. A decision was made. The time was right. There's also a message here that you can see them all the time, but humans have completely blocked. You know, they'll try and get your attention, and we'll just something out of the right side of my eye, or the mystical and the sublime, it's everywhere, but we block it. It shows itself when you look for it. 3 of Wands. This idea that we have made ourselves steely, closed. We've turned into beings who we forget things, like the Ice King. So it's this idea that the magical comes back again, because first off, because we're open to it. And secondly, because it's the right time. We get our wish. So magical things happen to you if you believe in magic, but also if you're open and receptive to it. They also bring messages of healing. Archangel Raphael, who brings the healing, comes to us. So it's also a message of healing and love. And this awareness, this message from the angels or the fairies is to know that you are not alone, to know that the magical is real and that love and support is there for you. There are swift changes happening, like COVID, tragic things. People are frightened right now. The Knight of Swords, my COVID card. Things are happening right now in the world that are upsetting, and so that's why they come. They bring healing, the elixir. So it's the right time. People were open and receptive to it. It's the time to show themselves. And also, they bring messages of peace and love at a time that's very difficult. And so that's why they came. Well, thank you, Redwoods. Thank you for the coffee. I appreciate it. That's a really powerful message, isn't it? Each of the pages, melachim, melach in Hebrew, correspond to a different archangel, right? So what is Archangel Raphael known for? Healing, the healing waters, right? What about the page of swords? Which archangel is that? Anybody know? Well, thank you, Sherry, for that kind donation. I appreciate that. Michael, yeah. Michael is depicted in artwork as carrying a sword because he was seen as the angel that took on the devil and won. Yeah. And Uriel is, let's see, what is it? Gabriel is, I believe, Pentacles, right? Which is associated with writing and art, right? Is that right? Yeah, and Uriel is Wands. That's right. Did I get that right? Gabriel, Uriel, Michael, and Raphael. That's right. I got it. Melissa Miller, the angel showed up 29 minutes in on the Sunday show. And, but what was interesting is that it's like I said it and then it was flying around and nobody made a big deal of it. And you can see very clearly there's an angel flying around in the room. And then afterwards I looked at it and I go over and I read the comments and stuff. But what was amazing was that nobody thought it was a big deal. Oh yeah, fairy. And it was just like, there's a dang fairy flying in my room. And so I was just surprised that nobody made a big deal about it. It's like, whims, we see those all the time. It's like, well, I've never seen one. Anyway, it was awesome. Wow. It was just a great. I just love the fact that the unseen is starting to be seen. The other thing that's starting to happen to people, you're not going crazy, is that you will start to hear the fairy music. They say right before, if you attract the fairies and if you are like planting plants, etc., you will start to hear, I swear, the music of the fairies sounds like Irish jigs. You literally will hear the fairies and the fairies, the gnomes, the little people. You will start to hear the little people partying. Has anybody gone camping and had this experience yet? Where they have parties? That's something from my childhood. It was in Sunday's show. on Sunday's show, this Sunday. And it had wings, and it was dancing around. It's only about 2-3 seconds. Not this show, the live show on Sunday. We would have these weird experiences. Yeah, because I grew up in the woods. I grew up in Oregon and Washington, and you can put chocolate and things like that. Yeah. But at night, right before we would go to sleep, and with our head pressed to the ground, we would start to hear like Irish jigs and things. And it would just always be in the distance, like somebody was having a party, but it was flutes and it was and it happened almost every night that we were in the woods. We would hear this fairy music. And this is before everybody had a phone. I mean, this was in the middle of nowhere. And my mother, who was a bit of a witch, she said, she grew up like this was completely normal. She said, the fairies are having a party again. It's not a big deal. So I just grew up, so you would just listen to it in the distance. You would hear the penny whistle, the music and the partying and the laughing and whatnot, and be like, the fairies are having a party. This is like 1968, out in the middle of nowhere. This is very cool. Yeah. We'd been praying, and we prayed. We did the empath prayer, and I did feel like a chill. I did feel that tingling that you get when you pray and you feel like the angels. I did feel that more so than usual. That was nice. Like we all were like, I think what happened is that a lot of people were saying the empath prayer together, because a lot of people like to say it at the same time. And so we were all saying it, and then I kind of got a chill, like, ooh, that felt good. Like I felt something move. And then a couple people joined Fairies and Angels, which is our group that gets together and we support each other, Fairies and Angels, and we share readings and support each other. And anyway, so we were talking about, are you a fairy? And so then all of a sudden a fairy started flying. It was very strange. It was really crazy. Oh, Melissa, did you say it out loud? Yeah. So we could try and recreate it next Sunday. We can just really focus like we did on Sunday and just see if we call our good angels and when you think about I think of the empath prayer as it's a perfectly formed prayer, right? It's really perfect. And it's very inclusive. It's an inclusive prayer. It's a perfect prayer. And we talk about our good angels, and it came in like it must have been drawn to the energy, and so it comes in briefly like, what's going on here? And then it's like, and then it leaves, but we caught it on tape. It looked like Tinkerbell. Yeah, Melissa, it really did. All right, love and light, everybody. If you're trying to get in for a reading, please reach out to me, tarotwithwhimsy.com. Oh, the fairy was at 2329 if you would like to see a real fairy. And you can zoom up the camera, you can stop it and then enlarge it, and you'll see that it's three-dimensional and it's not coming from any light source. It is the light source. It's not against a wall. It's suspended in midair. And it's moving, and it's got wings. It's cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for the support. 2329, Barbara. Thank you, Hilda, for doing that. Thank you, Joanne. All right. Be well, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I'll try and do it more often. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you for the donations and everything. Bye-bye.